Hey, I'm Jesse Macht of Race the Tide. My senior year of high school, I joined this cover band, and we just played like 3 songs. Proud Mary and I think Sugar Ray's Fly or something at homecoming. And then we decided we needed another guitar player, and when he joined, he said, do you mind if we write some original songs? I want to try and do that. And so I went for it with him, and then I organized a gig at the Whiskey A Go Go on Sunset. I'd always looked up to that place because I was a big Doors fan. And yeah, we played our show, and I was just overwhelmed with what that experience was like. The connecting with musicians in that live format, not really knowing what could happen next, but also really knowing what would happen next. That combination of performance and just being in the now was a high I'd never even thought possible, and communicating something from my heart with an audience in that kind of art, in that format of art, was really exciting. So yeah, I was hooked then. I knew from then on that I wanted to do music, and I went right into college, tried to form a band. So even though those songs were pretty infantile when I first started writing, that experience, I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Take a breath. Don't let it all out. Let the clean air feel you all around. Take a breath. Take a breath.
I was inspired to do Race the Tide kind of in 2 ways. One was, I was signed to this deal with this last record that I made under my own name, Jesse Macht, and the album had gotten shelved for a long time because the CEO of the record label, his son, had gotten sick, so everything was at a halt. So I wanted to move on a new project, and he said it would be okay to do it in a new band name. So that was one reason. The other reason was I wanted to try a sound that was a little different than what I had been doing. Something that had some more influences of ethereal pop rock music. I had been listening to stuff like Tycho and War on Drugs, and it just had a little more atmosphere than some of the stuff I'd been doing before. Some more keyboards and stuff like that. And Race the Tide is a lyric borrowed actually from the singer-songwriter effort I did, Suitcase Heart. One of the lyrics there is, we want to race the tide before it comes and goes. And I'd always kind of liked that image of life being a metaphor of the tide coming in and all of us trying to get done what we want to get done. And especially as an artist, for me, trying to find my message and some of the things I want to say as a young man before, you know, the lights go out. So that's where Race the Tide came from.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Let it cool your mouth. Let that cool air in. Yes, bring it all down. Grab a hold.
Well, the Race the Tide EP is 7 songs, and we recorded it in 2 different places, but mostly at this place called Sound 69, which was serendipitous because I was a huge Rilo Kiley fan as a kid, and still am, and Jenny Lewis and Blake in that band, and Jacques, I believe, is the bass player, and he had this studio, Sound 69, and I was referred to it, and only once we started recording, like halfway through the day, did I find out it was Rilo Kiley's, the bass player's studio. So that was pretty cool and exciting for me. So that was one element, and then the other studio we were at was Whispering Pines, which is Lord Huron's studio, and they sometimes rent it out to do some records, but most of the time it's just their rehearsal space. And I befriended some of the guys, and they were really nice and said, hey, come into our studio and do it. So those are kind of two cool elements about that. We tracked 4 of the songs all in one day, which was pretty exciting. We just did this sort of bare bones of it, like bare bass and drums and guitars, and then I went and did some overdubs by myself. And then one last kind of cool element is my buddy Ben was on tour with Ryan Adams, who I'm a big fan of as well, and he was on tour with him, and on the bus, Ben did a lot of the keyboard parts. So like the intro that you hear to Riptide, and the keyboard part in The Enemy, those are like 2 things he did on the bus in Europe on that Ryan Adams tour. I think the tour was for Prisoner. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so those some cool secret trivia to the Race the Tide EP.
Reach your hands out, feel your fingers stretch, taking over, touch my cheek, feel my face grow older, can you hear my voice? Are you listening?
You know, the best advice and kind of the most frustrating advice that I could give that I've always gotten in my life is write. And it's hard because sometimes you get tired and you might think, well, I have too much content, or what am I writing these things for if I have some things that are already out there, or I have to wait until this next thing comes. You know, the point is that we're in music and there's so many songs out there, there's so much music, but it is what you need to do, both for your soul and just creating content all the time. You never know what kind of song or what mood, what instrumental you write is going to inspire the next video or the next piece, or will be a sync or whatever it is. So write as much as you can. Just keep the muscle alive, and if you can do that, then usually the writing of something is the thing that initiates or, you know, causes the spark for whatever else to happen in your life musically. So I'd say write.
Are you listening, girl, father, enemy, are you listening, Lord, father, enemies.
I mean, all sorts of albums inspired me when I was young. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan as a kid, big Doors fan, but you know, we all go through different periods. I think the records that inspired this Race the Tide EP was the last War on Drugs record, some of that stuff. Definitely Ryan Adams' self-titled Ryan Adams, Dawes, but perhaps the stuff that did it the most was the last Tycho EP was pretty influential. Just the soundscape there was pretty cool, and Laura Marling has been a big influence of mine. This record didn't really sound like her as much, you know, sonically in terms of some of the instrumentals, but her lyrics and her turn of phrase and her outlook and her philosophy had a lot of influence on my writing. So yeah, she was. So I'd say those are probably the records that helped influence this EP.
At
nab somebody from another band, who would it be? That's a great question. Well, I guess I'd really nab my keyboard player who played on the record, but I can't take on the road, Ben. He plays in a band called Pet Fangs, so I would nab him pretty quick. You know, I don't actually know the name. I don't know this guy's name, but the lead singer of a band called The Night Game. I guess I don't really need another lead singer, but I think that band is awesome. I think they're a cool new pop band, and I think it'd be really cool to open for them. And he's a guitar player. His guitar player is also a rad guitar player. Otherwise, man, there's a drummer who played for Ryan Adams. I don't know his name either. The drummer on Ryan Adams' self-titled. I met him once, actually. I think he's from Scotland. And I met him at the Hotel Cafe once. He's a fantastic drummer. I really liked him.
And barely ever get away. They chase me down into the deep blue sea, and I can't scream. All I do is wait. Maybe I want them to stare at me, and suddenly it's true.
You know, I might whip out a little Lion King every once in a while, you know, just to make sure you get that vibrato going. What else what do I sing in the shower? You know, I sing whatever record I'm kind of listening to and what's going on. So right now I'm singing Ray LaMontagne, and I've always been bad at remembering the song titles, but he's got this one lyric that says, my heart is like paper, yours is like a flame. That's on his new record. It's super psychedelic, and I really love that record. So I guess what I'm singing in the shower now is Ray LaMontagne's new record.
They tear at me, those goddamn eyes, and blood stained deep. I'm sick of all the struggling, I'm sick of all the fighting it. I'm sick of swinging at ghosts, and what I'm sick of most, sick of being my own enemy, sick of being the enemy.
So I already mentioned this before, but this new band I've been digging, The Night Game. I think that would be a really cool bill to be on. I think we'd fit really nicely. I also love Alan Stone. The guy who played bass on my record, Tyler, actually plays bass for Alan, and I think they're great. There's another guy named Theo Katzman who I dig. He's part of the band Volpec, but he's got his own solo record, so Theo would be a cool one. Dawes would be awesome. I really like them. Taylor's lyrics are just rad and really descriptive, and he grew up in LA, and there's some sort of LA lefty intellectuality, hopefully some self-effacing philosophy that I'm really in line with. So Dawes, and gosh, any other one for good measure? Oh, Jukebox the Ghost. Those guys are some buddies of mine. They're doing really well right now with their new record, so I would do that. So Jukebox the Ghost, The Night Game, Alan Stone, Dawes, Theo Katzman. Yeah, that'd be a cool bill.
I tend to dream that murderers have cornered me in a hotel. They run me out and shoot at me. I can scream, I can use some help. Maybe I want them to.
I mean, music's definitely brought me closer to people, most notably my band. You know, I've known these guys, but I also like cherry-picked different guys around LA who I thought could help me find the sound that I was looking for this Race the Tide EP. So, you know, Rob, the drummer, is just a fantastic drummer, and Tyler, my bass player, definitely brought us closer. My keyboard player now live, Jeff, has been rad, and I've always loved my guitar player, Ken Belcher. He's just finds such great sounds. But all the guys I've played with have been really, really cool. Will Harrington, Ben. But I think what brings me closest is that, you know, I've made my career the last few years on these home concerts. I go to people's homes and perform right in their living room, like right here, just with a guitar, and maybe some of my guys come. And I tell the stories behind the songs and perform right there, and I become really intimate with hosts and their friends and family. And it's been some of the most fulfilling concerts that I've done, the most fulfilling. You know, I play concerts at normal venues, but the last 4 years I've actually done so many more home concerts, and it's just more viable for an indie artist, and I'm always looking for new ones to do and meet new people. So I'd say that it definitely brings me closer to go into people's homes and share my music and share my heart, and then hear the stories of what inspires them, what about my music has inspired them. So I hope that I'm going to do a lot more home concerts coming up, and the people watching this, or you know, whatever else I do, they reach out and they say, hey, will you come to Connecticut? Will you come to Germany? Will you come to South America and perform? And I've been lucky. I've been to 100 different homes around the world and performed. So that's definitely brought me closer to people. So once again, I'm Jesse from Race the Tide, and I really appreciate you guys asking me some questions about my music. Go listen to the Race the Tide EP. It's available everywhere: iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. You can also get it at Bandcamp if you want to directly support us. We have vinyls on sale as well, and we'll send you the digital copy too. See you later.